She watches every single story, sometimes within minutes. She never misses one, but she never texts, never calls, never starts a conversation. So what's really going on? Is she secretly interested? Is she playing games? Or have most men completely misunderstood what story views actually mean? Today we're breaking down the psychology behind one of the most confusing behaviors in modern dating. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why a woman can watch everything you post while staying completely silent, because the truth is, what looks like interest isn't always attraction, and what looks like distance isn't always rejection. Let's get into it. Social media has changed the way people stay connected. Years ago, if someone wanted to know how you were doing, they had to message you. Today, they can quietly watch your life from a distance without saying a single word. That's why story views have become one of the biggest sources of confusion for men. You see her name every day, morning, afternoon, night. She watches everything, your coffee, your gym, your vacations, even random posts that seem meaningless. Naturally, your mind starts asking questions. If she's watching me this much, why doesn't she just text? The answer is much deeper than most people realize. Let's look at the psychology behind it. Number one, watching feels safe. Reaching out feels risky. Here's something many men never think about. Watching your stories costs her nothing. Sending a message does. The moment she texts first, she becomes vulnerable. Now she's wondering, what if he ignores me? What if he doesn't seem interested? What if I misunderstood everything? Story viewing removes all that risk. She can stay informed without exposing herself emotionally. It's like standing outside a room with the door slightly open. She can see what's happening inside without walking in. Many people choose observation over action because observation feels emotionally safe. That doesn't automatically mean she's interested romantically, but it does mean your life still holds enough curiosity to keep her looking. Number two, curiosity doesn't always mean attraction. This is where many men make a huge mistake. Someone can be curious without wanting a relationship. Think about people you occasionally check online. Maybe an old classmate, maybe an old coworker, maybe someone you haven't spoken to in years. You don't necessarily want to reconnect. You're simply curious. Human brains naturally seek updates about familiar people. Psychologists sometimes describe this as keeping our mental map of social relationships updated. Your stories satisfy that curiosity in seconds. So before assuming every view is a hidden love signal, ask yourself this: is she watching because she wants you, or because you're simply part of her past or present social world? Those are two very different things. Number three, she wants information before emotion. Imagine you're considering buying something expensive. Do you decide instantly? Probably not. You gather information first. People often do something similar with relationships. Before investing emotionally, they observe. Your stories become tiny windows into your daily life. How do you spend weekends? Who do you surround yourself with? Do you seem confident, negative, positive, always complaining, always showing off? Without realizing it, many people use stories to answer these questions. They're collecting clues, not making conclusions. This silent observation helps them understand who you really are beyond conversations. And that's something most men completely overlook. Number four, she may be waiting for a better moment. Timing changes everything. Sometimes people genuinely want to reconnect, but life gets busy. Work becomes stressful, family needs attention, emotions become complicated. Every day, she tells herself, I'll message tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Meanwhile, watching your stories takes 2 seconds. It's effortless. The longer she waits, the harder starting the conversation feels. Eventually, silence becomes a habit, not because she doesn't care, but because breaking silence feels bigger with every passing day. Now, here's where things become even more interesting, because the next three psychological reasons have almost nothing to do with confidence and everything to do with human behavior, especially the sixth reason. It's so subtle that most men mistake it for attraction every single time. Let's continue. Number five, your stories have become part of her routine. Have you ever opened an app without thinking? Most people have. Habits are powerful. Social media encourages automatic behavior. She opens the app, she taps through stories, your face appears. She watches, not because she consciously decided to, but because your stories have become part of her daily scrolling routine. This is important. Routine creates consistency. Consistency doesn't automatically create emotional meaning. Many men confuse repeated behavior with deep emotional investment. Sometimes it's simply habit. Number six, she's comparing her life to yours. Comparison is a natural part of human psychology. Without realizing it, people measure progress against those they know. She may wonder, he's traveling more, He seems happier. He's more confident now. He's changed. Your stories become reference points. She's observing where life has taken you compared to where she is today. This doesn't always mean she wants to come back. Sometimes she's simply checking how your journey compares with her own, and social media makes that comparison incredibly easy. Number 7, she doesn't want to lose the connection completely. Here's something emotionally interesting. People don't always want full relationships, but they also don't want complete disconnection. Watching stories creates what psychologists sometimes call a low-effort connection. No conversation, no expectations, no pressure, just enough contact to avoid feeling like strangers. It's subtle, but very common, especially after friendships, past relationships, or meaningful life experiences. Watching becomes a quiet way of saying, "I haven't forgotten you," without actually saying anything. Number 8, she's unsure what you think about. Her confidence changes behavior. Uncertainty changes it even more. Maybe she's wondering if you've moved on. Maybe she's afraid you'll respond coldly. Maybe she thinks you're no longer interested. So instead of risking disappointment, she stays in observation mode. From her perspective, watching stories feels much safer than risking rejection. This isn't manipulation. It's often self-protection. People avoid situations where they expect emotional discomfort, and uncertainty creates plenty of it. Number 9, social media creates the illusion of closeness. Here's one of the biggest psychological traps of modern communication. Watching someone every day creates a strange feeling. It feels like you're still part of each other's lives, even if you haven't spoken in months. The brain begins treating visual updates as social interaction. That's why people often feel connected. Without actually communicating, it's an illusion, but it's a powerful one. She may genuinely feel like she already knows what's happening in your life, which reduces the urgency to reach out. Ironically, the more stories people watch, the less they sometimes feel the need to message. Number 10, she's waiting to see if you reach out. First, this final reason surprises many men. Sometimes neither person wants to make the first move. Both wait, both wonder. Both assume the other isn't interested. Meanwhile, weeks pass, months pass, the stories continue, silence continues. It's not always because someone doesn't care. Sometimes it's because both people expect the other person to break the silence first, and nobody does. Opportunities disappear, not because feelings disappeared, but because hesitation lasted longer than courage. Building the bigger picture. Now let's connect everything. If she watches every story but never reaches out, don't jump to conclusions. Don't automatically assume she's deeply interested, but don't automatically assume she isn't either. Story views reveal attention, not intention, curiosity, not commitment, awareness, not necessarily attraction. The biggest mistake most men make is building an entire story inside their own minds based on one small digital action. They start imagining future conversations, hidden meanings, secret feelings, without enough evidence. Psychology teaches us something much healthier. Look for patterns across different behaviors. Does she engage outside stories? Does she respond when you message? Does she make conversations easier? Does she remember details about your life? Does she invest time, not just attention? Real interest usually shows itself through consistent effort, not just passive observation. And here's another important point. Your value should never depend on who's watching your stories. The most attractive people aren't constantly checking who viewed their content. They're focused on living lives worth sharing. Ironically, that's often what creates genuine attraction in the first place. Confidence isn't built by counting viewers, it's built by building a meaningful life. When your attention shifts toward growth, career, health, purpose, friendships, people naturally become more curious about you, not because you're chasing them, but because you're becoming someone worth knowing. That's the difference most men never notice. So, why does she watch your stories every day but never reach out? Because watching feels safer than vulnerability. Because curiosity isn't always attraction. Because habits are powerful. Because uncertainty creates silence. Because social media makes people feel connected without real conversations. And sometimes because she's waiting for a moment that never seems perfect. The next time you see her name appear in your viewers list, don't rush to create a fantasy. Stay calm. Pay attention to actions beyond the screen. Real relationships are built through communication, not story views, and once you understand that, you'll stop overthinking every notification and start focusing on what truly matters. If this video changed the way you see social media psychology, let me know in the comments. Have you ever had someone watch every story but never send a single message? What do you think was really happening? I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoy psychology, relationships, and the hidden behaviors most people completely miss, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video might explain a behavior you've been wondering about for years. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.